Welcome. We're about to uncover a surprising story, one that's hidden in a ceremony so many of us have seen or even been a part of. It's a story about a forgotten bridge, a bridge of knowledge that connects the ancient world to our modern one, and it's been right in front of our eyes this whole time.
So I want you to picture this scene, a graduation day. You see the rows and rows of students, everyone looking so proud in those flowing black robes and those kind of funny-looking square hats. It all feels so traditional, so historic, doesn't it?
But let's be honest, have you ever really stopped to ask, why? Why the robes? Why the hats? Where did this all actually come from? Well, the answer is way more incredible than you might imagine, and it's going to take us on a journey deep into the past. Now, our story doesn't begin in the hallowed halls of Oxford or Cambridge. No, we have to go back hundreds of years earlier, to a time of incredible intellectual light, the Islamic Golden Age. This was an era absolutely defined by a powerful society-wide passion for learning. And it all kicks off with one single powerful word. The very first word of the Quran revealed to the Prophet Muhammad was Iqra. It means read. Think about that. The very foundation is a divine command to seek knowledge. And that idea, that command, wasn't just a one-off thing. It was woven deep into the fabric of the culture through teachings known as hadith. Sayings like this one made learning not just for the elite, but a lifelong journey for every single person. And this is the key right here. This wasn't some gentle suggestion or a nice idea. It was understood as a sacred duty, an absolute obligation for both men and for women. This created the foundation for an intellectual revolution unlike any the world had ever seen. So you have this divine command, but how do you turn that passion into a reality for an entire civilization? While you build an infrastructure for it, you create the tools to make it happen on a massive scale. Just look at this. This image, it captures that flow of knowledge perfectly. You can literally see the river of ideas, starting with the very foundations and flowing all the way across time to our world today.
Okay, so two things happened that just blew the doors wide open for learning. First, they took papermaking, which they learned from the Chinese, and industrialized it. For the first time in history, books became cheap and accessible. And second, the Great Translation Movement, a huge state-sponsored project to translate all of the world's knowledge into Arabic, saving countless ancient texts from being lost forever. And right at the very heart of this revolution was the legendary House of Wisdom in Baghdad. I mean, this place was incredible. It wasn't just a library. It was like a university, a research lab, and a translation hub, all rolled into one. It was a magnet for the greatest minds on the planet. And the scale here is just staggering. You look at this chart. While a monastery in Europe might have, what, a few dozen books if they were lucky, cities like Baghdad and Cordoba had libraries with over 400,000 books each. It was a totally different universe of access to information.
So when you have this kind of incredible infrastructure for knowledge, what happens next? Well, naturally, you start to see new kinds of institutions pop up, places totally dedicated to higher learning that you'll see look a whole lot like our universities today. These places were called madrasas. And they weren't just buildings, they were magnificent centers of learning, architectural wonders like these in Samarkand. They became these international hubs, drawing in students and scholars from all across the known world. And get this, we're talking about the world's first continuously operating degree-granting universities. The University of Al-Qarawiyyin in Morocco, founded in 859. It is still operating today. And then you have Al-Azhar in Cairo, which came along in the 10th century. And don't for a second think these were just dusty old lecture halls. No way. They pioneered teaching methods that are the bedrock of education today. Things like interactive discussion, debate, and critical thinking. They even developed formal exams, both written and oral, to prove a student had actually mastered a subject. Does any of that sound familiar? It should. All right, so now let's bring it all home. We've built this bridge from the past piece by piece. Now let's cross it and solve the mystery of that graduation photo we started with. So you've got this explosion of learning happening in places like Cordoba and Fez. And guess what? European students started flocking there to study. And when they went back home, they kept wearing the long, flowing robe of the Muslim scholar, which is called a thob. Why? Because it was a status symbol. It was proof that they had the best education the world had to offer. And this is exactly why that simple robe became the ultimate symbol of being an educated person in the West. As the historian Jack Goody put it was the clearest sign of scholastic integrity. Over time, European universities just adopted it for their own professors and students. But wait, it gets even better. It's not just the gown. That square hat, the mortarboard, the origins likely trace back to the wooden stand that scholars used to hold the Quran while they studied. And the tassel dangling from the side? It probably started out as a simple bookmark for the holy book.
The influence is so deep, it's literally embedded in the words we use today. You know how we talk about a top professor holding an academic chair? That phrase comes directly from the Arabic word kursi, which means chair, the very seat the teachers sat in to give their lessons.
So when we look at this bridge of knowledge again, it's not just an abstract idea anymore, is it? You can see the path, clear as day, flowing directly from the Islamic Golden Age right into the graduation halls of today.
And that's what I want to leave you with. If something we see all the time, something as familiar as a graduation ceremony, is hiding this incredible, profound history, it just makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other parts of our modern world, our science, our culture, our daily lives, were also built on this magnificent hidden bridge of knowledge? What else is just waiting for us to rediscover?